Hey folks, not doing a build today, just doing a quick teardown video. I need a few of these parts that are in this guitar for some upcoming builds that I'm doing. So in case you ever wanted to see what's inside of a 2018 Fender made in Mexico Stratocaster, this is your video. Get started with something simple. I need basically the tuners for a project that I'm doing. I need this body for a project that I'm doing. And I'm probably going to sell the neck and the pick guard as a loaded piece. And I'll use the bridge and some of the other hardware that goes with the body. So I'm not going to tear it down all the way, but let's get started with something simple. Trim arm. And this tremolo is a 2-point tremolo, which I actually think is kind of cool. It's real similar to the American style tremolo. And actually what I'm planning to do with this body is to use it along with the Highway 1 neck to kind of make a more American Stratocaster. I've also got a another pick guard that's loaded with the Fender 59 pickup set and some better switches and hardware and stuff. So that's what's going to go with this. And I've got a Highway 1 neck with a set of locking tuners that I'm going to use with this body. These tuners are going to go on an upcoming Telecaster build that I've got, so be sure to subscribe to my channel to catch that. Let's take these strings off next. I've already pre-loosened all the strings. I do that just because if you begin to take the strings off on the, well, really on any end, you risk breaking some of the others, but especially if you start with the heavier end and go toward the lighter end, and the tremolo happens to put a bunch of extra tension on these lighter strings, they can pop. Okay, when I take these things apart, I don't like anything to go to waste, so I'll even reuse the strings sometime if I can. If I can't, maybe I'll just use them for mock-up on another project, but might as well save them if they're still good. And this thing's barely been used. There's like almost no fret wear, and the body's almost perfect, which is why I'm really going to use this one. And let's take these tuners off next. So the way these modern Fender tuners, at least the ones that have been made in, since the 80s, work is that they really are just held on by the nut or the ferrule that goes through the peg head or the headstock, and they're located by these two pegs that go into the holes on the back of the neck, which I can show you that in a minute. But there is no screw that goes through the tuner into the body of the headstock itself. These particular tuners are not what they call stagger tuners, so they're the same on all 6 strings, and they're all actually pretty high. So these would require you to use a string tree. And you'll notice that this neck has 1 string tree. It probably could have benefited from 2, but it did get by with 1. I think compensated or staggered tuners are probably a little bit better option, and they come on some of the more expensive Fender models. Like the locking tuners that you'll see from Fender a lot of times are the staggered tuners, so that as you get towards the end of the headstock, they're lower, or the hole for the string is closer to the face of the headstock itself, and that gives you a better string angle, helps your tuning stability, and just makes the guitar play a little better. Alright, last one of these. Alright, so there's the tuners that I need for my other project. I will show you. This one has an F neck plate, which is kind of cool. I'm going to reuse that on my build. Let me get this neck plate off. By the way, this body does not have the typical cracks that you see on the neck pocket around, the neck joint or the tongue area. A lot of times they're cracked like in this area or in that area. And this one doesn't have that. So I'm trying not to put any stress on this body in that area. So laying the guitar flat on its face like this ensures that I won't have any stress on the neck joint as I'm taking this plate off. I'm also going to take these off by loosening each one of them just a little bit before I finish taking them off altogether. Okay, and this neck was a 22 fret neck, so it has a little bit of a tongue that overhangs the end of the I don't know, the joint, I guess I would call it, and it goes over the pick guard a little bit, so it would not have been possible for me to take off the pick guard before I took off the neck. So that's why I'm doing things in this order. So here's this neck. Looks like August 2018. Everything looks to be in good shape. This is a one-piece neck. It does not have a fingerboard per se. It's all one piece, and it's fairly light. It's got the traditional style or the modern style truss rod instead of the vintage style truss rod, and these are the holes for the tuners that I was telling you about. So these locate the tuners instead of a screw that goes through. They're the posts that locate them. Pretty traditional truss rod. Doesn't have micro tilts or anything weird like that. Frets are in good shape, so I'm going to sell this neck and somebody will enjoy it. Okay, let me take off the pick guard next. Actually, let me take off the back plate next, because I'm going to have to desolder the wire that goes to the claw, the tremolo claw. Alright, well, even in here you can see the difference that some of the modern Fenders have over the older Fenders, even of the same model type and manufacturer. Nowadays the bodies don't have paint in a lot of the cavities, and it looks pretty clear to me that what Fender's been doing in the last several years is they'll make a body, completely finish it, and then use a CNC machine or something to go ahead and route out all the cavities after that's done. And what I've seen them doing, and you can see it on some of these holes, is enlarging the holes for basically taking away just a tiny bit of finish on each one of the holes that they make in the body. So you can see that they do that to keep the finish from cracking as they put a screw through it. So kind of interesting. Alright, let's attack this pick guard. Oh, nice. Well, this is I guess a Player Strat. You can see by the sticker, it does tell you kind of what it is, but it has these Alnico pickups instead of the old ceramic bar ones. So that's a pretty nice set of pickups, and looks like the pots are all CTS pots, and the switch is an Oak Grigsby style switch. Everything's kind of semi-US spec. So yeah, that's nice to see. Let me lay this down because I've got to desolder a couple of things to get everything out of it. Okay. I'm just going to cut these off really close to the jack, and I'll clean up the jack later. I'm a little disappointed because I thought this would be a Switchcraft jack, but it looks like they're reproducing Switchcraft jacks now, so that's unfortunate, but it still looks like a pretty good quality one. It's not quite what I would expect a Switchcraft to be, but it's pretty good quality. Alright, so here's a little bit better view of the pickups and the switch. It looks like a pretty standard set. I think this is a sort of a mint green finish pick guard. It's close, but it's definitely a different shade of white than this. It could be a parchment, but it's definitely not bright white. And I think the pickup knobs and pickup covers are, I mean, the knobs and the pickup covers are matching the pick guard, so interesting. Alright, and then inside the body, it's got a nice coating of black shielding paint. But like I said earlier, it's pretty apparent to me that Fender does a lot of this paint work before they actually route out the whole body. So you can see that they've gone back around and routed the edges of this, and it's not shielded all the way down. It carries a serial number or some sort of part number. It looks like starts with an M, I'm assuming, probably for Mexico, but who knows. And then you can see the holes here that they use to route, or to set the body into the CNC machine or the CNC router to locate it. So anyway, pretty nice. There's a little bit of yellowing underneath the pick guard. That's not a big deal. Let me show you a couple other parts that I've got just as a comparison. Okay, so this is a 2017 body from a Fender that I disassembled. I was going to use this one for my project, but in the end I decided to use this white one instead because of the differences in the tremolos. This is an FSR body, and the FSR is some sort of a special edition that retailers can order, that you know, they can order a few differences in a standard Strat and their version, and I think this is one of the differences that this particular vendor, whoever it was a 6-screw tremolo instead of the 2-post. Also, it's just interesting to note that this is being a 17, it does have some differences in the 18. I don't know why they moved the serial number to the middle here. The serial number used to be up in, oh, you can't see that, can you? The serial number used to be up in the upper pickup cavity, and there's some stamping differences in the pocket area. And then the other thing you'll notice is that the number of CNC machine locating holes is different. So these two here are different than this body. This body doesn't have those two. So I'm not sure why the difference, but it's just interesting to note. And here again, on this black body, you can tell a lot better than the white one, but you can see this wood outline of where the CNC machine carved back the finish a little bit more than it carved back the cavity. I think that's actually pretty cool that they do that. But no differences in the back. Again, on this black body you can see a little bit better that they obviously route this out after they finish the body. I got one more part I want to show you. Okay, this is the neck that I'm going to use on this project. It's actually a Highway 1 neck. It's a 2007 neck, and the reason I have all this tape on here is that I'm doing a truss rod plug repair. I had to fish out that nut because the nut was stripped. I've got a new nut that's going to go back in it, and I've got to replace this walnut plug that goes in there. So I'll take the tape off after I'm done with that, but it's got that nice big 70s headstock with the big black and gold Fender logo, the curved logo, and I'm just going to put all that on this body. And like I said, I've got that other set of pickups and stuff that I'm going to put in it, so that's going to be a fun project. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this teardown video. If you want to see the build of this Strat in the future, it's going to take me a while to get to it, but that will be on my channel. Make sure you subscribe and like this video. Thanks a lot.